All right, who you got? Darren Till or Derek Brunson?
We're on?
Who you got?
Are we live?
Yeah.
Brunson.
I got Brunson.
I don't give a finna.
Darren Till's only 28. Derek Brunson's gonna have a 2.5-inch reach advantage.
Allergies, people. Sawdust.
It's an early card tomorrow. Main card starts at 4:00.
Oof. Is this a fight night? Yeah. So, we could stream this.
I'll be working.
You will be working. I will be relaxing or fishing. Alex Moreno or David Zawada.
I don't know either of these guys, to be honest with you.
I got Alex Moreno.
I
Watched
got-
him a couple times. David Zawada. I hope I'm saying his name right. Probably not. You know me. 3-inch reach advantage.
Yeah.
And he's taller. So.
This is a welterweight fight, Moreno and Zawada.
Yeah. But anyway, what do you think? Patty,
I only know one person from each fight until the main event, so I'm really not too in.
Patty
on
Pimblett?
this. Patty Pimblett?
Patty Pimblett?
Yeah, Patty Pimblett.
Yeah.
I think he'll win because I think Dana White gave him a scrub so they could get a win right away. Modestas Bukauskas, Khalil Roundtree's an interesting fight. Roundtree's on a 2-fight losing streak, I believe. I don't know about Bukauskas.
Oh, he beat Ian Kutalaba. Whoa. Shout out, Mark.
Yeah, so Roundtree's on a 2-fight losing streak. Bukauskas is also on a 2-fight losing streak, but he did lose to Jimmy Crute and Mikhail Alexashuk, which are 2 really high-level light heavyweights right now. So honestly, Bukauskas might be due for a win here. So I like that. Bukauskas also has a 1.5-inch reach advantage, so I like that too. And he's younger. So I would give Bukauskas the win in that. I'm going to go Patty Pimblett.
Yeah.
I'm not going to touch Moreno and Zawada, but I got Tom Aspinall for sure. And then I have just Derek Brunson slightly. I think Derek Brunson is the worst kind of matchup for Darren Till because he's stronger and he's really good standing. So I think that...
Do you think he's faster, too?
I would say Till's faster.
Yeah. I think Till's got more power.
I don't know about that. Brunson's a big boy, man.
He is big. And
Till's only... This is only Till's second fight in middleweight?
He dismantled Kevin Holland, but,
that wasn't that impressive.
It wasn't that impressive. It's Kevin Holland, the young Kevin Holland. Darren Till's loss record is pretty goddamn impressive.
He's only his 3rd fight in middleweight. His first fight since July of last year.
Robert Whitaker, that ain't bad, you know?
Robert Whitaker, Kelvin Gastelum in middleweight so far.
Yeah. He hasn't fought much.
I'm not too huge into the Darren Till hype fan. I recognize that he is a really good striker, but he was a great striker when he was in welterweight. And that's when he had the size advantage over everybody. Now that he's in middleweight, he's fighting these bigger guys like a Derek Brunson, who's tough as fuck and can wrestle and is really good striking. I got Brunson. Till's just the bigger name, which is why he's really favored, I think.
Yeah, I think it's the name in this. I think if you know the sport, I think you would favor Brunson a little bit. So it's kind of weird to see where the numbers lie right now. But
so there's no fight night next weekend.
Okay.
And then after that, we have Anthony Smith, Ryan Spann. It's a decent fight. I think Anthony Smith has that. Anthony Smith's been on a tear, unless he fights like top 3 guys. So I'm going to pick Anthony Smith until he does fight again. Coming off last week, it was a pretty damn good fight night, and I really wasn't expecting it to be. We saw the Ultimate Fighter winners, Brian Battle and Ricky Tersois.
Not even
good fights.
Winner wasn't there because he tore his ACL or something, tore his meniscus.
So I can't remember the guy's name, but Gilbert Urbina filled in for the guy that I want to say he tore his ACL. It was the guy that knocked out Urbina the week before or like the fight before, and then Urbina got the call to make it up, and Urbina was winning in the first round. He was like winning pretty dominantly, and then Battle just fucked him up. So kudos to Brian Battle, middleweight Ultimate Fighter winner, Ricky Tursois, the bantamweight Ultimate Fighter winner. Although the other bantamweight that lost, Brady Highstand, had a great fight. It was actually a really good fight between Tursois and Highstand. Yeah, Tursois really turned it up in the last round. Highstand had great grappling that really almost won him the fight. And then Giga Chikadze TKO'd Edson Barboza, and it was kind of an early stoppage. Edson Barboza was definitely loopy, but he was by no means not defending himself anymore. But he had gotten rocked a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, it was gonna get ended either way. I look at it.
Yeah, probably. With someone as dangerous as Chikadze, yeah, he probably could have gotten a really good shot at
his hands are faster. His hands are fast. He's got good striking. His kicking is.
There was just this one overhand right that really rocked Barboza, and then 30 seconds later, the fight was over.
His striking was very. He showed it off, and I think him and Max Holloway would be a really, really good matchup.
Good fight. I think Max Holloway dominates him though.
I think Max Holloway deserves a higher ranked opponent than that.
I do too. I have the rankings right here. So Holloway is obviously number 1 ranked. Giga Chikadze gets moved up to 8. I thought he would have got moved up higher.
That's what I mean.
Honest with you. So Chikadze now 6-0 in the UFC, 14-2 in his career. Like he's not above Josh Emmett and Arnold Allen. That's surprising to me. So yeah, that's the fight night coming up. 2 days on September 4th. You're watching MMA Complete Podcast, brought to you by Fans Only Sports and Naked Sports. Go check out nakedsports.com. Fans Only Sports is now carrying the load of the podcast again, so we're going to be doing both. So you can watch this podcast on either channel, fansonlysports.com, nakedsports.com. Although this podcast is one of the only ones that's been on both the whole time.
Makes sense, but
right.
I mean, the more platforms, the better.
You can also go check out the audio podcast on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, and what the fuck's the other? I can't remember the other platform right now, but we are transitioning to audio as well for people that just like to listen to it in the car and shit, because we have gotten a good amount of views. iTunes/MMA Complete Podcast or iTunes/Naked Sports. I think it's both. So yeah, we had originally had plans to go into making our own rankings. We've tried to do it for the last couple weeks. We're going to do it soon.
Yeah,
that's on the horizon. But
tell what we're going to do.
I really wanted to talk about 266.
Okay.
Because we are still 3 weeks away, just over 3 weeks away. But the pay-per-view card is so stacked, and we haven't given it too much thought, which is almost irresponsible because of how fucking monumental this card is. Like we talked about it last time, even the prelims are stacked. Early prelims are still good. Like you got Carl Roberson on the early prelims. That's something. Dan Hooker got added not too long ago. Dan Hooker fighting Nasrat Haqparast in a fight that I'm surprised Hooker even took. Hooker 8th ranked in the lightweight division, fighting a non-ranked competitor. I guess he just wants to get a win, because that lightweight top 10 is so tough right now. But even if he does get a win, I don't see him moving above Dos Anjos in the rankings.
Yeah.
So Hooker, it's a very low risk, high reward, or a very low reward, high risk fight that Dan Hooker's taken. And he's fighting a guy who's 13-3. He's 5 years younger. What's up?
Yo.
What does it do?
Oh, nice sweatshirt.
How's it going, bro?
How are you doing? Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah. Doing good.
You got Darren Taylor, Derek Brunson.
Brunson? I want Till. I like Till a lot more.
Right. He's the personality.
Well, as an MMA guy that you've watched, you're going to choose
Brunson. Brunson's on like a 3-fight win streak against 3 good up-and-comers.
Do you want to see
Is it a 3-fight win streak?
Would you like to see the numbers?
Vittori.
I don't think he beat Vittori.
No.
What do you think?
I'm pretty sure Vittori beat
Holland.
Holland.
Or Vittori beat Holland.
Yes.
What do you think the numbers are? Like, who do you think's the underdog? Who do you think's the favorite?
Derek Brunson's on a 4-fight win streak. His last loss was against Adesanya in 2018.
Yeah.
Derek Brunson has a good loss record. He lost to Jacare and Adesanya. Anderson Silva
Brunson
and Whitaker.
is
And Romero.
plus 170.
What is it?
Pretty close. I thought you were going to
Is
say
Brunson the underdog?
Yeah.
I'm looking at this real quick. All right. So the loss record. Jacare in 2012, understandable. Jacare was a fucking tank. Yoel Romero in 2014, understandable. Robert Whitaker in 2016, understandable. Anderson Silva in 2017, I think that's Anderson Silva's last win.
Is that a decision?
Yes. I think that was Anderson Silva's last win. It was a decision that Brunson had more strikes and more takedowns.
At least he didn't get put away,
And way more control time. It's a decision that, if you look at it, Anderson Silva only won because it was the Anderson Silva's last time to try to get a win. Anderson Silva had 11 less significant strikes, no takedowns, no knockdowns, no control time. Derek Brunson had 2 takedowns, 4 minutes of control
So who's he
time.
beat? Who's his 4-fight win streak?
His 4-fight win streak is Elias Theodoro, Ian Heinisch, Edmund Shabazian, thank you, and Kevin Holland.
It's 4 fights in a row.
Bazian.
And his last loss was against Adesanya, and before that, Jacare.
All right. Can I just say, I think his competition has gotten worse over time. Is that fair to say?
Derek Brunson?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Ian Heinisch is totally respectable. He's been one of those fringe 15 guys for a while now, or in the top 15. Edmund Shabazian was on a hype train, and he had a good fight against Brunson.
Yeah.
But Brunson
Kevin
knocked
Holland
him out.
stopped. Kevin Holland, yeah.
Kevin Holland, he just absolutely ragdolled.
Yeah.
I mean, Brunson is totally deserving. What is he right now? 5th in the middleweight rankings? Yeah, 5th.
I wonder what Brunson is by decision.
And Darren Till is...
How do you think this is finished? Do you think by decision?
Yeah.
I think if Brunson can't knock out Kevin Holland, and Kevin Holland was so bad on the ground.
It's not. He just wasn't trying to knock out
I mean,
Kevin
go
Holland.
back
He was
to the
just going
numbers.
for
43 to 36 striking. I mean, Derek Brunson really didn't.
Yes, but that's because he had 6 takedowns. Like if you look at the total
What's the
strikes,
control time?
if you look at the total strikes, I bet control time was 17 minutes for
Oh
Brunson.
my god!
So he
The
had
whole fucking
he had
fight.
43 significant.
Half the fight.
He had 43 significant
How
fights.
long was it? How much could control time?
17 minutes.
That's half
Yeah,
the fight.
3-round fight or 5?
Five. That's half the fight.
Derek Brunson had 43 significant strikes, but he had 226 total strikes because it's all on the ground.
Yeah.
6 of 12 for takedowns. Like, he absolutely murdered Kevin Holland. And Darren Till hasn't fought since he lost to Robert Whitaker in July last year.
Yeah.
I got Brunson.
I got Brunson. I got
Brunson.
over 3.5, over 4.5. And I got the over 2.5 as well. I think I'm going to hammer all that. I don't think Darren Till knocks him out. How many times has Brunson been knocked out?
Adesanya, maybe Whitaker.
TKO'd or knocked out?
Well,
Because I don't know.
or just go by stoppage. How many times has he been stopped?
He's been knocked out 5 of his 6 losses. The only time he didn't get knocked out was when Anderson Silva beat him. And all of those knockouts, every single one, except Yoel Romero, was in the first round. So I would definitely take the over. I would definitely take the over in this fight.
I might hammer all the overs, and I might pick Brunson by decision. And Brunson to win.
So, big news got announced today. January, this would be UFC 270, will be targeted for Cyril Gane versus Francis Ngannou.
270.
270.
Wow.
It's crazy.
So we're going to have some pay-per-views in between there, man.
Well, we got 266 Volkanovski Ortega, September 25th. October 30th is 267. That is Blachowicz Teixeira.
Yeah, you got to pop up that list. And
Yep. November 11th is 268, I believe. 268. I don't think they've come out with the actual date for it yet. And then it's either 269 or 270 will be Ngannou Gane. I think Ngannou knocks him out in the second round.
I think there's a very good possibility.
I don't believe in Cyril Gane, man. I'm sorry. I just think Derek Lewis did not come to fight, and even if he did, Derek Lewis is not a well-rounded MMA fighter like Ngannou has become.
Yeah. When we're finished this, I want to add a topic.
Good.
Who do you think John Jones wants to win?
Ngannou.
You think so?
I think John Jones wants to fight the best fighter in the world. And I think that also he wants, for his egotistical, for his own ego, he wants to fight the guy that has better claim to being the better fighter in the world. I think that John Jones would have rather Stipe beat Ngannou, because then he could fight the best heavyweight of all time for the championship.
Yeah, he'd have a better chance to win.
Listen, if I'm John Jones,
dude, if
I don't
Gane
think
puts
anyone
away,
can beat me.
If Gane puts away Ngannou, like,
If he puts him away.
I really don't. I think it's possible John Jones, it just says, I'd rather fight Stipe for the money. It's all a money game now. He's not going to want to fight Gane. And
I think he wants to fight for the title. Has Francis Ngannou ever been finished? He hasn't, right? No, he's never been finished. Cyril Gane finishes Francis Ngannou, I would be very impressed, and I think it would be a submission.
like, how many followers does he have on Twitter? Gane.
Cyril
Yeah,
Gane?
look that up.
I got it.
If it's over 1 million,
44,000.
44,000.
You get him on the pod, though.
Like, it's just, what do you think
Francis
they're going to
Ngannou
pay
has
him?
568,000.
What are they paying him?
Dude, Cyril Gane had a big shit about it. He got paid $300,000 for his fight against Lewis, and he had to give up like 40 or 60 grand for taxes, another 80 grand for his team. He left with like 110 grand or something to win the heavyweight championship of the world.
It's kind of crazy.
It is and it isn't.
He's like the biggest.
It isn't. It
mouth.
isn't because like it was a short notice fight, so you're not going to get as much hype around it. It was an interim fight, and Cyril Gane doesn't have that big of a name yet. I mean, he kind of does now. He's getting there, but I wouldn't have expected too much more than 300,000. Like fucking Charles Oliveira got paid like 500,000 to beat Michael Chandler.
I mean, that's a pretty good payday, you know what I mean? Like, and that is like, I wonder if you got anything for pay-per-views, because it didn't get much.
No, it didn't. Didn't get much at all.
300,000, 200,000.
So I want to talk about UFC 266.
That's
Our
nothing
fantasy
for that
draft
fight.
just got moved again.
I know.
It's 6 o'clock now. 266 is Volkanovski Ortega. It's also Shevchenko, Murphy, Diaz, Lawler, Blades, Rosenstrike, Andrade, Calvillo. Right? Shevchenko's still fighting, right? Yeah, she is. Okay. Shevchenko is minus 1,400, by the way.
It's insane.
Good for
She
her.
started off at -7, so.
So crazy. Lauren Murphy, 38 years old, too.
It's crazy. It's wild. She's going to get knocked out, so Shevchenko by knockout is the bet.
It's so crazy that Nick Diaz, Robbie Lawler. How much do you think Nick Diaz is going to get paid?
I mean, they're not even.
250,000.
They're not even in the top 3.
Nate Diaz
Not even
was
that-
the co-main
not
event
even
against
in
Leon
the-
Edwards. He got paid $150K.
Wait, are they even in the main card?
Yeah, they are. They're the third fight from the top.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe like 150, 120.
Blades Rosenstrike is below Diaz Lawler. That's crazy to me. You got top 3 heavyweights fighting. Top 4. Oh shit, Rosenstrike's 6 now. Oh, I didn't know that. Who did Rosenstrike lose to? Gane.
Yeah, we might do a.
Cyril Gane beat him.
That's the one that we might do a pod bet for.
Yeah, we might be bringing back the pod bet. Because I think we all have Volkanovski, Shevchenko, Lawler, and Blades.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Volkanovski Ortega is one that I've been wrapping around in my mind. Because Brian Ortega is super underrated on the ground.
The only
His
problem,
jiu-jitsu is so good. And Volkanovski likes to take people down.
It's going to be interesting.
He's one of
To
those
say the
guys that
least.
likes to get points and go for decision. And I don't know if you're going to want to take down Ortega. And Ortega's only fight that he ever lost, right, was against Max Holloway. And Max Holloway absolutely shit on him. And they stood up the whole fight.
do we all have
Brian
Dan,
Ortega was 2 for 11 on takedowns in that fight.
do we all have Dan Hooker too? Like versus Nazrat?
I don't know. I don't think
Like
that's
a
worth the
lot.
sweat. I don't think that's worth the sweat. He's fighting a guy who's 13
I don't
and
want
3.
Shevchenko. I don't think that's worth the sweat for 30 extra points.
I think it is. I think Shevchenko's going to win. But I hear you, because it totally wouldn't be for 30.
And dude, all right. So we're picking all the favorites.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Smart.
I would take Wallace Willie over Marlon Rice, too. That's just me, though. I like Mirab Wallace Willie.
Who's up Patty fighting?
Paddy Pimblett is fighting Luigi Vendramini. Yeah.
Luigi.
I
Patty,
what is Patty? What is Patty?
What
Because
is
I
it?
got Patty and Derek Brunson.
Jim Miller's fighting September 18th.
Oh, okay. September 18th is
Anthony Smith.
Anthony Smith round span.
Yeah, well, but yeah, I think Ian Kutalaba too. What were we saying?
We were talking about Paddy Pimblett.
I'm looking at I'm trying to see what his number
It looks pretty
is.
all around good. He's got some submissions. Got hands.
Yeah, he's got.
Yeah, but he's in the lightweight division, man. He's got to go through some killers. I don't think he has it in
People
him.
are picking him. People are picking him.
It's so crazy how you have guys like Paddy Pimblett, who their first fight is on a first fight of a main card
They got hype
of
going
a fight night. But then you have guys like Michael Chandler, who go right to being a substitute for a main event championship fight.
Well,
So
he
big.
was
That's
a
so
champion
crazy.
at Bellator.
So was Pimblett.
Where though?
Chandler wasn't a champion when he left. He lost
Where-
his last fight at
Where
Bellator.
was Pimblett? He was fucking. They got him from-
PFL?
No, he was not.
Cage Warriors.
Cage Warriors.
Cage Warriors.
Yeah.
Is he really?
Yep.
He was the champ, and he was like 3-time champ or something, or he won 3 championship fights in a row.
You know who Alex Moreno is? I think we've watched him. Yeah. Or me and Mark watched him, maybe. Yeah. No, I got Brunson and Paddy Pimblett is the bet, dude. Like for real. Shout out Mark for the like, probably. Thank you, Mark. You the man.
All right. So, here's the thing about Brian Ortega.
It's kind of a sweat.
It's absolutely a sweat. Volkanovski is a beast, man. He beat Holloway twice. He's the only person, I think, besides Dustin Poirier, to beat Holloway twice. And Poirier did it the first time, like 9 years ago. But the second fight was definitely super, super close. Definitely could have gone to Max Holloway. So now you throw in a guy like Brian Ortega. Like, it's the top 3 featherweights in the world is Volkanovski, Holloway, Ortega. Rankings and otherwise, they're just the best 3 featherweights. And they all have different specialties. Volkanovski's a wrestler. Max Holloway's a striker. Ortega's jiu-jitsu. So when you have a guy like Max Holloway, who not only has the stand-up credentials he has, but he has the length of his arms, that guy's reach is fucking outstanding.
Mm.
And you go up against a guy like Ortega, who's going to try to take you down, but isn't going to go for the double legs and the sweeps. He's just going to try to clinch you and bring you down.
Yeah.
That's when you run into problems, because with Holloway's stand-up prowess and his takedown defense, you're just not going to take him down. And we saw that. He was 2 for 11. Ortega was trying to take down Holloway. And then you got Volkanovski, who is a wrestler, who was able to take down Holloway.
Who trains with the best jiu-jitsu people in the world.
Well, I'm not even
John
talking
Danaher.
jiu-jitsu right now. I'm talking just
Oh yeah,
wrestling.
well Brian Ortega's a black belt.
Right. So when you have, that's what is interesting to
Gordon
me,
Ryan,
because if
he trains with him.
Volkanovski tries to take him down, I think Ortega's going to have. I think I think Volkanovski should not try to take down Ortega.
I think his defense is going to impress more people than it actually is because of who he trains with. He's training with people that are animals, that are champions in their sport.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think people would be surprised. I'm not saying nothing against Ortega, because he definitely still has a leg up, but I don't think he's going to be able to do as much people think.
I can see this fight going like 3 rounds, Volkanovski dominating it, and then Ortega just catches him in a guillotine, and that's it. I really could see that happening because Ortega is so fucking nasty. And we saw it against Korean Zombie. We didn't see too much of the jiu-jitsu, but we saw Ortega's striking become so improved. And if you watch the UFC highlights, I think it's like on YouTube, just the pay-per-view previews. Like they kind of get silhouettes between both fighters and they have interviews and talked about the fight.
Yeah.
And Ortega says that he got dominated by Holloway. He totally switched up his camp, got new coaches, and is now training for a game plan. Whereas before he was just training different areas and just going out and winging it. Just wing it. And now he's actually gotten fucking a game plan, which is scary going against a guy like Volkanovski, who is... Volkanovski's game plan goes right into Ortega's strong suit. If Volkanovski wants to take you down, Ortega's going to probably let him to get him to the ground because I think Ortega's better on the ground. Volkanovski might be able to hold him and beat him up for a little bit, but from a technical standpoint, Ortega will be able to do what he wants with him on the ground. Whereas a guy like Holloway is the complete kryptonite of Ortega because he's just going to stand with you and strike with you the whole time. And we saw that.
Now, what I say to that is I think Volkanovski's defense is good enough to get him out of the round.
I do too. I absolutely do. Like I said, I think that Volkanovski will dominate up until the point that he might lose.
Yeah,
that's really how I see this fight going.
I think it really comes down to cardio. You know, who can be taken in those deep waters in those 3-4 rounds? Because if Ortega's taking him down all the time, I don't think
Ortega will be taking down Volkanovski. I think Volkanovski will be taking down Ortega.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, who's going to get gassed more on the bottom?
Well, we've seen Volkanovski go 10 rounds with Max Holloway and keep going in the 5th. So it's very likely that Volkanovski won't get tired. And then we also saw Ortega go for 11 takedowns and get beaten up for 5 rounds. And I think Holloway ended up TKOing him, but Ortega was still coming in the 5th round after going for 10 plus takedowns and getting beaten up the whole time.
Yeah.
So I don't think cardio is really going to play into it because I think both these guys are in super shape. Especially they've both been with the Ultimate Fighter. They've been training, and this fight's been scheduled for 2 months already.
He did have Corona, so I mean,
it was scheduled before COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was scheduled before Corona, wasn't it?
Yeah, the fight was supposed to happen, I believe, at UFC 264. And so these guys have been probably training their asses off, as I'm sure, you know. There should be no restrictions from camp. That's what I'm saying. So they should both be in phenomenal shape.
I think his camp is so good, dude.
But here's the thing. If Volkanovski...
in the world.
We saw Volkanovski when he had his 2 fights with Holloway. He did go for takedowns and he got him and he was wrestling. But Volkanovski was throwing strikes with Holloway the whole time. Like 25-minute fight, they were standing up for at least 22 minutes. So, and Volkanovski was doing good. I think he might have landed more total strikes. So if Volkanovski comes in with that game plan of just, I'm going to stand with you like Holloway did, I don't think this fight's going to be close. Because Ortega's good striking, but Volkanovski's so fucking tough. And his ability to just come at you with a barrage of strikes, combo after combo after combo. The leg kicks are going to be interesting to see who enables more. Volkanovski's never been a huge leg kicker. I think in the second fight, he had a round where he had like 5 leg kicks on Holloway, and then he kind of stopped.
Yeah.
Ortega did it a good amount against Korean Zombie, but nothing crazy. And I mean, if you're Ortega and you know that Volkanovski's bread and butter is getting takedowns for points, you're going to go for some leg kicks to try to force that to, or minimize that. Yep. So that would be smart.
Mm-hmm.
Who has the reach advantage? I don't think there's any big advantage. Volkanovski has 2.5-inch reach advantage via Google. Who knows if that's completely correct? Because I've
That's
seen
crazy. What's the height?
it.
That's insane.
Ortega has a 2-inch height advantage.
That's insane.
And a 2. So Volkanovski just has some long fucking arms.
Yeah. So Ortega he might use his legs.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I think that would be a really good game plan of his. Honestly, I think this is going to be mostly a stand-up fight, which, I mean, most championship fights lately have been. They've been just almost all standing.
Yeah.
When you have two guys that are as great as they are on the ground as these two, it's almost, honestly, I could make a comparison to Usman Covington. Both guys are so skilled on the ground. You got one guy who's really good on the ground. You got one guy who tries to go for takedowns for points. And so what usually ends up happening is they don't even go for him because they know that it'll just be a mute point, so they just try to save energy and strike. I could see that happening. I don't know who I would favor striking, man.
Covington needs to take Usman to the ground.
We've never seen Usman getting taken down.
Covington needs to take him to the ground.
I think that's definitely the only way Covington's going to get it done.
I don't know if that's true, man. I really firmly believe that Covington could stand right in Usman's face for 5 rounds and land more strikes than Usman. I really do believe that. If he doesn't get knocked the fuck out into oblivion.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, maybe he lands more strikes, but they're less meaningful, you know?
Well, a strike's a strike landed in the points.
Unless he stands there and gets knocked down.
Right.
Which means he might not be able to.
Right. And Colby's a tough fucking dude, man. If he didn't get his jaw broken, he would have gone 5 rounds.
Oh, my God. He looked like a mess. And, not a scratch on Usman, right?
Usman was a little beaten up, but yeah, not really too much of a stretch. And if you rewatch that fight, Covington maybe won 2 rounds, but it was totally Usman.
Yeah, GSP got asked why he would fight Khabib and not Usman. And he said he wouldn't fight Usman because it's not a hey, motherfucker. Fuck you. He wouldn't it's not the risk reward isn't there. So he said it's not worth it, basically. It's kinda interesting.
That's kind of what I was thinking with the John Jones gone thing. Because,
right.
What is
John Jones' motivation
there is a big
right now?
reward. He gets the fucking belt. But
that's the reward. I don't think John Jones is doing it for money at all. I get that he wants to be paid, compensated for the fact that he's going to be bringing money to the UFC. I understand that. But I really do believe that it is all legacy for him right now.
Yeah.
If he wanted to fight Stipe, he would probably get $6 million to fight Stipe. And I think he would. That's fucking such a tough fight. But I think John Jones would beat him. But he wants the belt. He wants to be a 2-division champ. Not at the same time, but that's the legacy standpoint.
Could go back down the way.
His manager said that. His manager said that John Jones hasn't ruled out a return to fight Jan Blachowicz for the light heavyweight title.
Oh, he'd fucking screw on Jan.
He would decimate Jan Blachowicz.
Think so?
Yes, I do. I 100. I think that John Jones.
If he's going for the money and the sheer money, you would just go fight Jan and make $6 million.
If he was going for money, I think he'd fight Stipe. Because he's not going to get the money he's looking for against Ngannou. If he was going for the money fight, that's Ngannou Jones, but that's just not going to. Dana White has told us that he would rather the UFC fans not watch that than the UFC pay him $10 million, $15 million, whatever it is.
He says that to get the hype going.
Does he?
Yeah.
Why is Ngannou out right now? What is?
Ngannou's out right now. We've never been told. We never got told.
Still?
The reports were this. Ngannou won the title. John Jones went up to heavyweight. John Jones wanted to fight Ngannou. John Jones wanted to get paid $15 million. Dana White said it's not going to happen. And then Ngannou said he wants to fight Jones. And then Dana White made an interim title belt. That's what happened between Cyril Gane and Derek Lewis. And so now that there's an interim title belt, Ngannou basically has to fight Gane. So you could look at it a couple of different ways. You can look at it as the UFC is trying to promote other fighters. You can say the UFC is trying to not pay John Jones. You can look at it and say that Cyril Gane and Derek Lewis both deserved an interim title fight. But remember that Ngannou Stipe was literally like 2 months ago.
That's what I mean. It's so weird.
And so it's not like Ngannou didn't defend
it
his
was more
title
like
in
2
time.
months ago. It's September.
Oh, it was January, yeah. Okay.
No,
But
it says
even
2018.
You're right. The second one I should look up.
It's not a huge deal.
March. So it was 5 months that Ngannou didn't. It was 4 months that Ngannou didn't defend his belt, and the UFC said we're going to make another fight. My opinion, and I've said this multiple times, is that Dana White wants to back John Jones into a corner where he's got to take a fight not against Ngannou or do something else. Like basically, or he could take a title fight for $8 million. That's basically Dana's given him those two options. There you go. What do you want to do? He's just not going to pay John Jones $10 million. And you know what? I get it because John Jones has never been a part of a pay-per-view that sold over 1 million buys. I get it.
Not one.
But
Close.
But
Not close
from
enough.
the purity of mixed martial art competition in the UFC, you want to find out who the best fighter in the world is.
Mhm.
And right now, the two best heavyweights in the world, the three best heavyweights in the world, are Ngannou, Stipe, and John Jones. Cyril Gane's fourth.
It's a big thing to say.
I don't think it
Big
is.
thing to say.
I don't think it is.
Yes,
Is
it
that
is.
really arguable?
He's never fought in a heavyweight fight.
I don't know,
Is
just-
that really arguable?
You just didn't include the interim champion right now.
I just put him at 4.
Yeah. He's the current champion.
He's not the current champ. He's the interim champ. And he fought Derek Lewis to fight him. I love Derek Lewis, and he's a
He's
knockout
been through
king.
a couple other names.
He's a knockout king, and he's an awesome hype beast. But it's fucking Derek Lewis, man. You can't tell. Like, if I said those were the top 4, where's Derek Lewis? Like, he's
I don't know.
rounding
Where do you
out the
put him?
top 10.
Maybe.
I get that. No, you can't say that. All right, Derek Lewis is somewhere like 6, 7, which is a good little spot for him.
Most knockouts in heavyweight history.
Most knockouts in UFC history.
UFC. Sorry.
But let's be real, guys.
Rip to Derek
Let's
Lewis.
be real. Who is better, John Jones or Cyril Gane at heavyweight?
Right now, I'm gonna have to say Cyril Gane. Right now,
Okay.
until I see the first minute of that
I'm gonna
fight,
say-
and then I'm gonna switch.
Say God. No, because you can't say that because you're gonna go into it.
No,
What are you
I'm
doing?
gonna go in Gane, and I'm gonna be like, yeah,
Yeah,
Gane's
you
better.
can't switch your bet after.
No, because
Fight
I'm gonna
started.
pick John Jones to win. But I'm
Mhm.
gonna think I think Gane's the better fighter at heavyweight right now because John Jones hasn't fought.
Here's what
I'm
I would
willing
say
to
to
take
that.
the gamble.
Here's-
I'm willing to take the gamble.
Here's what I would say to that. Your argument is absolutely not invalid because Jones has never been at heavyweight. We haven't seen him at heavyweight. You're completely right. Let me ask you this.
Mhm.
Who is the best fighter in the world right now?
Me.
No.
I would say the
No.
best fighter in the world right now
Mike
is
Furtado.
Kamaru Usman.
Beat the brakes off Mike Furtado before.
I would
No.
say.
I would say the best fighter in the world right now is Usman.
I'd say Adesanya or Usman.
Do you think Adesanya is a better fighter right now than John Jones?
He's got a loss.
I want to hear
That was
this.
so
I want to
stupid.
hear this. Do you
Why
think
the
Adesanya?
fuck would you move up weight classes?
That's what I mean.
Not
It's an
put on
illegitimate
the-
loss. Like John
fucking-
Jones is an
No, 'cause-
illegitimate loss.
What are you gonna wait?
It's an
You're gonna say
illegitimate
Sean O'Malley's
loss.
got an
They
illegitimate.
both X each other out.
Yeah, same. Sean O'Malley's got an illegitimate.
No, he doesn't. He fought at
What
his
do you
own
mean?
weight.
What do you mean?
He fought at his own weight. He didn't go up a weight class.
Dude, he was hurt going
Yeah.
into it. Fucking,
A loss is a loss, man.
it's his foot.
Loss is a loss.
Wasn't
Sean
even
O'Malley's
Marlon
gonna
Vera
get knocked
that
out.
did it. Cheeto didn't even do anything.
But I love Sean O'Malley, dude. But I think he's such a great fighter, dude.
I
Sean
would
O'Malley's
be.
such a hype fighter. I love.
I
him.
would argue.
Yeah.
But
I would
think there's
argue.
just someone with a lot of skills gonna come around and knock him out.
And we're never going to hear him again.
No, he'll stick around. I think he's in the YouTube sphere.
Yeah, Sean O'Malley
I love him.
He's said multiple times that he doesn't care if he doesn't fight a top 10 guy.
Have you guys already talked about Jake Paul Woodley? I'm sorry.
No, we haven't.
It's a weird thing to just bring up right in the middle. I was just thinking about it.
Not yet.
Man. Oh, man.
Dude, I woke up from like I went to bed
Split
early.
decision.
Woke up at like 2 a.m. and was just like,
yeah, I got your text. I got your text like 2.
I was like, I got to check that. Man, I was so mad. At
Jake Paul
2 in the morning.
fucked him up on points though too.
Dude,
he had
what
way
we
more
could have
strikes.
knocked him out? What we had him against the fucking ropes, and he just stood there.
Yeah, I think Woodley had him a couple times, and Jake was like, "Chill," and Woodley backed off.
Who knows?
A lot of people have been
knows?
saying it's fixed.
I just
Who knows if it is or not? Jake Paul could have given everybody he's fought, Nate Robinson, Ben Askren. Nate Robinson maybe not, because he knocked the fuck out of Nate Robinson. But he could have given Ben Askren and Tyron Woodley. He's like,
he knocked the fuck out of
did you
Ben
see the
Askren.
payouts? Did you see the payouts?
No.
biggest payouts of their life, I bet.
No. It really wasn't. Tyron Woodley got like $800,000, and Jake Paul got like $3 million. So who's to say Jake Paul and Logan Paul aren't like,
Yeah, but
hey,
royalties,
I'll give you $1 million.
Yeah.
Royalties.
Very possible.
How many
Probably,
pay-per-views did it
honestly.
get?
No idea.
Can you look that up, please?
Well,
But like,
here's the
Young
thing.
Jamie.
Only other exhibition shit. That wasn't even exhibition. That was Showtime. That was a
Yeah.
Showtime.
it was an exhibition fight though.
Yeah,
It was
Barstool
an
Sports.
exhibition fight.
Barstool Sports was part of it.
Jake Paul also
They had
claims
the
that
money.
he's
They
retired.
had all the money in the world.
We were
and
talking about
insurance.
it at the bar the next day. Who's he gonna fight next? He's not gonna fight, I don't think, for another year. Who's Jake Paul fighting next?
I know you had a
Tommy
guy.
Fury.
No.
I said Tommy Fury. Here's the thing. I think that Jake Paul
That's the test.
and Sean O'Malley are doing the same exact fucking thing, right? They're gonna get paid the same, so why fight a guy who's actually a challenge when you could fight a guy who you know you're gonna beat?
Jake Paul?
Anderson
Yeah,
He's
Silva.
getting paid the same? How do you know?
No, he's gonna get paid millions of dollars regardless of who he fights. So why fight a really good guy? Is what I'm saying.
Because you could make a couple more million. I don't know.
Yeah, but
Sean
here's the
O'Malley's
thing.
against Fury. He couldn't make it.
If you look in long term, he's getting paid the same, but every time he gets another win, he's going to get more popularity, which accrues to more money outside of the ring, but it also accrues to more money when he fights his next fight because he's even more undefeated. You know what I mean? So he could fight a Tommy Fury. He could get paid $3 million, but he'll lose. And then his next fight, he only gets paid $2 million. Whereas
how much? All right, so you're basically saying that Jake Paul's going to be doing this for a while.
he's doing the same thing Sean O'Malley's doing, man.
Like, I really only see like maybe 3 or 4 more.
I think that Jake Paul,
Nobody really gives a fuck.
I don't think
Unless
Jake
he
Paul
really proves himself.
ever in his life professionally boxes a professional boxer under the age of 35.
Okay.
I don't think he ever does it.
If he
doesn't need to. He's getting paid. It's not
If
like he's
he
ever going to
doesn't.
become champion anyway.
he doesn't.
But if he does, right? Let's say he does fight a legitimate
He
boxer.
fights Tommy Fury.
He fights a legitimate boxer, wins, dude. Instead of getting paid like $3 million, He's gonna be
beats
getting
Tommy
paid,
Fury,
like,
he's going to
10
have the mob on. Like,
10, 20.
Tommy Fury, is he undefeated?
No.
And he's an up and comer?
Tommy Fury, I don't think is undefeated. I'm pretty sure he's not. Tommy Fury fought in the undercard of that Showtime shit. He won.
Isn't it crazy that Tyson Fury, he was born, he only weighed a pound? As a baby, he only weighed 1 pound.
Who knows if that's real though?
It is
That's
real.
something he said. Something is yeah. I remember watching that highlight reel.
Yeah.
Gypsy King.
Huge guy, bro. From
That's
1 pound.
a really cool nickname, though. The Gypsy King.
The Gypsy King.
Named after Mike Tyson, like, go figure.
So who's Jake Paul fighting next?
Anderson Silva.
I said that the other day. Here's the thing.
Anderson Silva.
No.
Here's the thing, right?
Might knock him out.
It fits the mold. It fits the mold besides one part.
Give me that.
Anderson Silva is out of his prime. He's not a boxer, and he's a big name. That's how it fits the mold. Here's the thing. He's not a boxer, but he's a lethal striker. But he's a lethal striker with his kicks integrated in with his punching. Not to say that he can't be a great boxer, because in his professional boxing debut, where he fought Antonio Cesar Chavez Jr., something like that, he won against an actual boxer. I don't think Jake Paul would ever fight Anderson Silva because Anderson Silva, I think, would absolutely decimate Jake Paul. So who could he fight? He's going to fight someone around 185.
He can't take another fighter from the UFC and just be like, I'm the fight.
Are you sure? Like, I think that's what he wants to do.
Pretty sure.
Like, what if he boxes George St. Pierre?
I think Dana's going to get mad now. Well,
If he boxes George St. Pierre.
No, I don't want to see that. I just want to see him fight somewhat legitimate under 35.
That's never happening, bro.
What if he boxes Kamaru Usman?
No.
And he's going to get his ass handed to him.
Right, he would never box Kamaru Usman, right? What if he boxes Colby Covington?
Jorge.
That would be actually, if Colby loses to Usman, that would be a decent.
We all know Jorge's about his money.
No, I think Jorge is not a good fight for Jake Paul. I think Jake Paul would not want to fight Jorge. But Colby's
But he's
not
going
a
to
power
consider
striker.
some of these other guys.
How about Nate Diaz?
No way. No way. Nate Diaz is way too big. He's not
What do you
like
mean?
jacked, but he's like 3 inches taller and
I don't
longer
know. Jake
than
Paul's
him.
pretty tall.
Right, but Jake Paul's only fought in guys that are smaller than him. Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley.
I think Nate would have to put on weight, and he might be slower.
He would put on weight, I think.
Be a little slower. He's already pretty fucking slow.
He fights with his hands down too. Like
I don't know if we'd ever see Nate in boxing.
he can take a punch though.
He should fight Connor. That's Jake
Jake
Paul.
hockey player.
Jake Paul has to box. What about like an NFL player or some shit?
It's a Daniel Chara. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's an interesting topic. What if you were to box like Pat Mahomes or something? Like, wouldn't that be fucking crazy?
Would be crazy. Another concussion.
Gronk. No,
Gronk's
Gronk's way
brothers?
too big.
Gronk's
Gronk's way too
brothers?
big.
One of Gronk's
Do
brothers.
you remember like the beginning of this shit though? Like they were calling out like actors and celebrities,
Yeah.
like Tom Cruise, fight me, box me.
Yeah. It's all for the hype, man. It's all for the hype.
Tom Cruise is like 60. He ain't boxing
No.
nothing.
Who's like a good? He already fought a basketball player.
You need to be a hockey player. I'd say like Jim Thornton. Is that a guy? Or Nate Thornton or someone? Like back in the day for the Bruins. Kobe would know.
Oh, Colby would be all over. He'd be like, yeah.
Yeah.
He would fight like a running back from the NFL. That's what I'm trying to think.
Marshawn Lynch.
Adrian Peterson.
Marshawn Lynch would be.
Marshawn Lynch
Yeah,
versus
okay.
Jake Paul. That would be awesome. Jake Paul would fuck him up.
Skittles.
Yeah. Skittles.
Marshawn Lynch. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe didn't Des Bryant punch some people?
Des Bryant. Ray Rice.
Right? Oh my god, fuck you. That's a low blow. Wow. Ray Rice. Nah, he don't deserve to get paid.
Bro,
You don't
do you
deserve-
know how much that fight would sell? Ray Rice, Jake Paul.
Jake Paul would
You know
knock
who Ray
him out.
Rice is, right?
Some dude beat the shit out of his wife, right?
He didn't beat the shit. He punched
Like an
her
elevator?
really hard in the face in an elevator, that guy.
And dragged her by her hair.
I do remember that.
Don't say that. Don't say that. But
He's soft.
that would be... Yo, I'm going to tweet at Jake Paul telling him to make that fight because that would sell. Dude, that would sell. This guy has credentials. He has a video of him knocking someone out. No? Too fucked up?
I don't know. It's too fucked up, I feel. But, I mean, it's not fucked up to wanting him to get knocked out by Jake Paul.
You know who Jake Paul should box?
Yeah, maybe
And I
somebody
hate-
who really deserves it.
And I...
Ray Rice deserves it.
Right, he does.
Yeah.
Right. And this is fucked up, but this is a topic we talked about on the podcast before. And I don't mean to bring up these intergender fights because I don't believe in it. But Jake Paul, Amanda Nunes?
No, she'd fuck him up.
She would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amanda Nunes, Jake Paul would be interesting. It would never happen.
Or hang on. That'd be funny though.
That would be funny. It sucks that we're so into this guy's boxing career now. I never wanted it to come this far. Tyron Woodley's
I don't think we get too far into it, dude. You know, it's not like we're counting strikes. It's not like we're.
I
Looking
actually
at the numbers.
counted strikes for him against Woodley.
Like, we're not talking about it. We're not looking at all the rounds.
Just for the record, Jake Paul outstruck Tyron Woodley like 162 to 98. Like that was the total strikes.
Wow.
But Tyron Woodley had more power punches.
Yeah, I mean,
And I think Tyron Woodley had a little bit better of a percentage landed. But you just can't, like, when you get outboxed by 60 strikes, that's what's going to happen.
How many rounds?
8.
Yeah.
And it was a decision, dude. Did you see the fucking numbers for decision?
Now we're talking about it. Don't get too far into it. You don't want to.
I kind of want to because, you know, this is shit that other people like.
Yeah, and the number was
What?
For a decision. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
put 200 on that.
And we were honestly talking
Put
about
two-
it like the
two-
2 days before the fight. We were like, ooh, that would be a good. But
200
we all
on
picked
both,
Woodley.
on
We all
both.
picked Woodley.
Yeah. How could anybody see that going any differently?
I mean, I figured that Jake Paul was going to win, but I thought Tyron Woodley had a really good chance. I thought he had a really good chance to knock him out.
Me too.
Can we? I hate to say it. I really hate to say it, but Jake Paul is
A really good
a respectable boxer.
promoter.
He's a respectable
He's
boxer.
a respectable promoter.
He is a respectable promoter, but he's honestly a respectable boxer now.
I don't know.
He's too rich to ever get into actual boxing.
I don't know.
Think we'll see Jake Paul Floyd Mayweather?
No.
I think we will. He's gonna go defend his brother.
What a story. What a movie. What a movie. That's stupid. No, he better not fight him.
I think Floyd's done fighting anyway. Floyd's making money off everything else. He doesn't care. But like if he's getting paid $80 million to box Jake Paul, I'm sure he'd fucking do it.
He gets paid like 1.2 mil a day or something. Dude, he can just pay someone to make him money, which is great. I mean, who would he fight? Like Carnelo again? Like that would be something.
Oh no, he'll never have a legitimate boxing fight, sanctioned boxing fight again. Never. He doesn't need to. He's 50. He's 50-0. Why would he ever do it again?
100 mil off Logan Paul.
You know what he should do? He should get
Sorry.
a spot on Dana White's Contender Series.
And fight in MMA? Never.
If he
gonna
wants
happen.
to.
Never gonna.
If
happen.
he wanted to.
He's also
Go for
46.
See what you do in
Floyd
the Contender
44,
Series.
46.
Logan Paul, you mean? Logan Paul's a wrestler.
What?
Logan Paul would have the best chance of actually making a career of himself in MMA. But he's already rich. Why would you go do it? Why would you go train 8 hours a day for 4 months to go in a cage with a lethal fighter?
What do they do all day? What do
They
they
train all day. They go spar for 4 hours, then they lift, and
I'm
then
not talking
they
about
eat.
UFC fighters. I'm talking about the fucking Paul brothers.
Well, they make YouTube videos and bang chicks and drink and party. What would you do if you were the Paul brothers? That's exactly what you'd fucking
Honestly,
do.
I'd probably try to get into the UFC.
Podcast.
I'd get so fucking bored of drinking and banging
Why?
chicks.
Would you?
No.
Would
But
you?
like, yeah, maybe at the end of the day,
Probably.
he's
If you were
just sitting in
banging the
his
chicks
fucking
these guys
house.
are banging, you would not get tired of it.
And
And he's
was that
making
fucking-
YouTube videos, and it's not like they're doing
I
that
see what
shit.
you mean. I see what you mean.
It's not like they're
They look the
probably
same,
doing
bro.
other shit. They're like riding dirt bikes and they're like trying fun shit. And
Yeah,
I
I
guess.
just feel like you get.
I don't know, what would you do if you were rich? Would you, if you had $50 million in the bank? Would you go?
I'd fuck off for about a year, maybe 2,
Would you-
and then I'd actually do something with my life.
Would
and
you try to go?
continue
Would you try to be an MMA fighter?
Probably still
Yeah,
work,
I
man. I
mean-
don't know. Like, not work 5
I
days
would
a week,
still-
but I'd
right.
still work. But I wouldn't like. I ain't working full time. I need to do something. I'd go
Yeah.
insane.
No, I would too. 100. I would have to, right?
Yeah,
But I'm
no,
not gonna.
but, like that's what I'm
set
saying. Like the
myself up.
contender, like he's all right. Let's say he goes on the UFC, right? I mean, he's not looking for the money, right? He's not
Right.
there
He's
for the
looking
money.
to actually have a legitimate MMA career.
He's looking to just do something with his hands because he's bored.
Yeah.
Logan Paul, that's why I say he has a good shot at doing it because he has wrestling background. He went to the University of Ohio and he was actually a collegiate wrestler. And that is a background that people get into MMA from. And he has boxing experience. He's been training for a couple years. But you got to think about it. What are you going to do? You're going to go to the UFC. You're going to have 2 fights against no-namers, and that's it?
Yeah, he tried it.
The CM Punk style?
Nah, I was just going to bring him up.
Yeah.
I'm just going to bring him up. I mean, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it if I were him. He's got fucking...
Too much to lose, nothing to gain.
Exactly. Low reward, high risk.
Yeah.
Say what you want about them, but they're smart businessmen.
Yeah, they're good promoters. They are.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone wants to see Jake Paul get knocked out. He's basically stealing Floyd Mayweather's gimmick, but I mean, it's working very well for him.
Right. And so who do people want to see knock him out next? That's the question.
Anderson Silva is.
Let us know who you think he should fight next at @complete_MMA. Go tweet at us right now.
I think you should play Anderson Silva, dude. Anderson Silva versus Jake Paul. I mean,
I kind of like the
good
narrative
fight.
switch of you throw somebody in there who we want to see get fucked up by this absolute schmuck, Jake Paul.
And maybe Jake Paul a good guy?
yeah. Who would you? Yeah, I know that's
Like the right shit. I mean,
You can't do it for obvious reasons with him, but just someone of that background, that's honestly would be super promotable.
Oh, yeah.
It would be. And you'd get backlash from women and feminine activists, understandably, as you should. But, and I'm just being honest here, the demographic of boxing and MMA viewers is very little women anyway.
What about like Kevin Gastelum or something?
Little
like that?
women.
Someone like that's
any
in the UFC right now.
Any legitimate
he's on a
UFC
contract.
fighter, that is a big part of it too. Any legitimate
just thinking,
UFC
like,
fighter would fuck up Jake Paul. Almost any. Almost
I've
any.
seen some fucking terrible strikers in there.
Yeah, and guess what? 2 of the biggest terrible strikers have already fought him. Not that Tyron Woodley's a terrible striker, but he's a wrestler. He's a wrestler who's 39 years old and 3 inches shorter than Jake Paul. It was the perfect matchup. But now if the next matchup is just a little more difficult, and you just keep pushing, just keep poking the bear, just keep a little more difficult, eventually you're going to run out of people that are... You can't go backwards from here. You can't fight a no-namer now.
He can, but like that's going to destroy what he's built. Obviously.
Right. And he won't make as much money. You just have to keep slightly going ahead. And that's the trick of it.
Slightly going ahead each time?
Well, Nate Robinson to Ben Askren is totally a step ahead because you're actually fighting a fighter. And then Ben Askren to Tyron Woodley is definitely a step ahead because you're fighting a championship fighter. So now you got to fight an actual striker or an actual boxer.
Who wasn't champion at one time?
If you can find one. If you can find one. That's the trick of it. You got to find someone.
Man, we all thought, we were like, I mean, Woodley sucks at striking, but this is the test.
Honestly.
And now that it happened, we're like, fuck him.
One of the Diaz brothers wouldn't be a bad move, I think.
That's what I mean.
Except they're strikers, but they're old.
Nate
They're
Diaz.
past their prime. And neither of them are power strikers either. They're point strikers.
Nate Diaz.
I think Nate Diaz would be a tough fight for Jake Paul, though, because Nate Diaz is super tough. His cardio's off the charts. And he's a really good striker. Puts a pace on people. The original put your pace on people was Nate Diaz. Or Nick Diaz. Both of them, really.
Yeah. I hope it's Nate Diaz.
What does Jake Paul fight at? Welter?
I believe he fights at
170?
I think it's 180. I think it's 180.
Middleweights or welterweights?
190. 190.
Oh, that's a big boy.
Yes.
So,
he's tall, man. He's not short.
Who? Kevin Holland?
Not
Contract.
It's not going to fight anybody in the top 15.
Nate Diaz don't have contract, dude. It's
anybody
great.
with an actual contract is still signed.
George St. Pierre.
Jorge.
Dude, I would lose my shit if Jake Paul boxed George St. Pierre. Because honestly, I'm not 100% sure George St. Pierre wins.
Me neither.
I'm not. George St. Pierre has the mental prowess to train his ass off and put himself in a great position. George St. Pierre is another wrestler who's good at striking.
George St. Pierre also ain't about the money.
And he's also 43.
But he ain't about the money, so he ain't going to take the fight.
Right.
This fight is just for
Right.
money. It's not for anything else.
Dude, Jorge's the man.
How about like fucking how about like Tito Ortiz?
Or Chuck Liddell.
No, Tito Ortiz. I'd like that. That
Chuck
pushes the narrative. I
Tito
wanna
needs
see
money more than Chuck.
Tito get fucked.
And I think
up.
Chuck's more dangerous of a striker than Tito.
You know, Chuck's fucking friends with Dana White. Tito and Dana White.
Oh,
are not.
Dana. That's who it should be.
You know, Dana White.
Jake Paul. So there was a quote. Someone came up to Jake Paul. And Jake Paul was along the lines of, Dana White wants to shut down all the progress I've made. He wants to decredit everybody I fought. He was saying that Tyron Woodley was a former champ, one of the greatest welterweights ever. And then as soon as he started fighting, began the process of getting into a fight with me, talked about how he was a sad champion and he can't strike.
Bro,
and then
Dana's been saying that for years. He's
but
saying
Jake
he's the
Paul,
most
to his
boring
credit,
fucking
Jake Paul was
champion.
and if I was Dana White, I would say the exact same thing. It's a smart businessman. And then the follow-up question was, how do you think this beef will end between you and Dana White? And Jake Paul said, I think it'll end by me accidentally running into him in a club in Las Vegas and knocking him the fuck out.
And then Dana White responded.
I didn't hear what he said.
Oh.
I think that if Jake Paul ever tried to throw hands at Dana White, there would be 4 incredibly large men tackling Jake Paul to the ground.
And punching the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Like
Similar
what happened
to
with
when
Floyd Mayweather.
Similar when he got his hat from
Yeah.
Floyd. Yeah.
Got your hat.
He tried to take Tyron's hat.
Dude, you know how many T-shirts he sold like that? He sold over so many. He sold out in a minute.
He tried to take Tyron's hat too, and Tyron actually had head movement.
But it's a good business move. Dude, he's
Try to
smart.
find a fucking TikTok where Jake Paul basically has like an easel with like all the next fighters that he's thinking.
That'd be interesting.
Like,
Yeah, well, that's for another week. All right, so coming up this weekend, we got Darren Till versus Derek Brunson. That's going to be a good fight night. Paddy Pimblett also makes his debut in the UFC.
Yeah.
The week after that, we don't have a fight night. The week after that is Anthony Smith, Ryan Spann. We also got a couple other good fights. And then UFC 266 on September 25th. That's going to be a really great pay-per-view, and we're going to be live streaming at 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. as we do for every single pay-per-view, wherever you're watching this now, nakedsports.com, fanzolysports.com, our own YouTube channel, MMA Complete Podcast. We're also going to be tweeting on our Twitter at @complete_MMA, so go follow us, go check that out, and tweet at us who you think Jake Paul should fight in his next fight. That's basically all I got. You guys got anything?
No, it's going to be a good fight night this week.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think Derek Brunson has a really great shot to win as the underdog.
Yeah, me too.
I'm excited to see Paddy, and
I'm excited to see Darren Till, man. It's been a while. It's been a long time. I hope he comes in and he's rowdy as fuck.
Yeah.
oh yeah, Sweet Caroline.
Bum, bum, bum.
Jesus.
All right, that's it for us.
We did that way.
MMA Complete, episode 62 in the books. Check us out next week. We go live every Thursday at 8 p.m. And then obviously September 25th and October 30th and UFC 268. Every single pay-per-view we go live 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. So come check us out for that and tweet us at @complete_MMA. We're out of here. Thank you, everybody.